Preview.
One of the foremost that we see is whether this is an owner who is perhaps trying to position himself as being out of the day-to-day of the business, where they have a CEO, they're maybe chairman, and they say, oh yeah, it's his company, he's running it, I'm the owner, but I really don't do a whole lot. But then they can't help themselves to answer every question in the meeting, insert themselves in every discussion, need to be consulted about every decision that's made. So the buyer goes, look, we don't know who's running this company, we're not interested. If it's this guy who says he's not involved, then we're just being misled. And that type of thing can really create problems in a process. And we've had those situations where we've told owners whose names are on the door they can't be in the meeting with the management team because they're just going to usurp the conversation, and it's a problem. And challenging conversations for type A business owners who don't want to hear, really rarely get told how things should work, and it may be inconsistent with their vision. The second is we see, and this gets back to something Corey said, you got to hit your numbers during the process. And when you hire a good investment bank, they should be running the process. They should be the ones communicating with the buyers. They should be the ones spending enough time up front so they can answer the questions that are being asked by the buyers, not just the very superficial ones, but the detailed ones, really understanding your numbers, why things are the way they are, how do you work with your customers, et cetera. If the owner of the company wants to be the investment banker and either sort of steps all over the investment banker or spends so much time on the process that they lose sight of their business, the operations, and they start missing sales because of it, which we've all seen those examples, that's a huge problem for the process and a diminishment of value and likelihood of getting a deal done. So those two things I would say are experiences I've had.
Gary reminded me of one client that we had. Small client, an unsophisticated owner, someone who hadn't graduated from college. Hadn't graduated from high school, but had grown a business from his garage, and he was in the mid-teens in terms of size, been running it for 25 years, wanted to sell the business, had tried to sell it twice before, and in the 11th hour, he scuttled the deal twice because he took offense at some of the negotiation that was going on. He was a really abrasive guy. It was my least favorite client ever. But it was a situation where we met with him. We spent a good amount of time with he and his team to get an understanding, and sat down with him and said, look, here's the problem. It's in the mirror. We can help you with this, but the only way we'd help you is if you stepped out and literally handed over the keys and didn't set foot in. We will talk to you on a weekly basis, but you don't talk to anybody else. You have to hand over the running of the company to. We actually had a resource that we put in, and we did that. We were able to sell the company within, it was right at the start of COVID. So it was about 6 months, but it got a little bit of COVID delays when we got there, once that happened. But yes, that's what happens when people can't get out of their own way, and they're only in this spot because they succeeded in spite of themselves anyhow.